Hi everyone. I know it's been a little while since I've done a video. Things have been a little nuts. I still got some reading in here last month. I read 5 books last month, but I'll get into that here. Um, so first of all, yeah, things have been a little hectic. We ended up getting hit with a pretty bad storm here, kind of middle of June. We ended up having golf ball sized hail. Um, did quite a bit of damage to my car, and then a couple days later, ended up in a car accident. Everybody involved was fine, but unfortunately, the car wasn't after the hail and the accident. So, had some car shopping to do and ended up buying a new vehicle. So, things have been a little crazy. Again, everybody's good, everybody's fine. Actually, just finished recording a podcast with the guys with the Level 1 Lounge and had some fun. We're cutting the runtime for that down to about a half an hour. So tune into the Level 1 Lounge for that. There's going to be a couple events coming up, I think, next month. We're kind of discussing how we're going to do all of that. But anyways, we're here to talk about books. So let's do that. So let's start off by discussing the books I read for June. So the first book I finished was Heir of Novarion. I probably again butchered the name of it. Um, this series was actually really good. I really enjoyed the way that this wrapped up. I don't want to give too much away for spoilers, but I thought this was fantastic. Um, the the dynamic between the two characters, I think I talked about it before, that did kind of continue on. One of the characters was trying to retire and decided and kind of thrust into the situation where he couldn't. But it ended up being a really fun series to read. I had a comment on one of my videos that there were actually 5 books before this. I didn't know that, so thank you for sharing. I have actually picked them up on my e-reader because I am starting to run low on space for my shelves. So I am going to have to do some more e-reading. Unfortunately, not that I there's a problem with it, but I don't know. There's something about having paperback books, and just books in general to physically hold. It's I don't know. There's nothing quite like it. Um, so I did finish off that series, and I did jump into Dungeon Crawler Carl, like I said I wanted to. Currently, I am on book 6. Yeah, I have the Benjamin Bride. So when I mentioned that I read 5 books, the 4 books in the Dungeon Crawler Carl book series. So I finished reading. I haven't been able to put this series down. I am absolutely obsessed. My brother-in-law has been reading it, and I actually have a little bit more time to read, so I actually did pass him when with what we were reading. But these books had made me laugh. They've made me cry. Um, the the first 3 books, I'd say 3 ish, were really kind of comedic in tone. Um, but the fourth one and the ones after, that's really shown a lot of depth with the characters, and it is been an emotional roller coaster ride at times. Um, I still laugh at these books. I still have a good time with them. And it's kind of funny talking about them to people that are unfamiliar with the series, because I swear every time I talk about it, there's this look of, are you on something? For those that are not familiar, like this book's been all over BookTube. It's it's everywhere at this point. There's a new TV series coming out for it that I'm getting more and more excited for. It's going to be produced by Seth MacFarlane, so the creator of Family Guy, and there's a lot happening with the series right now. But those who stumbled on this onto my page that aren't familiar, it's about a guy at the end of the world with his ex-girlfriend's talking cat named Princess Donut, just trying to survive getting through these dungeons. There's different characters that are introduced that all have their own backstories and have their own depth and have ways of helping them or hindering them through their journey. And there's different stages of these dungeons that they got to get through, and it's just them trying to survive. But I mean, every time I explain, yeah, Princess Donut is a talking cat that can shoot lasers out of her eyes. It's like, what? So it sounds crazy. For any video game fans that are out there, I highly recommend it. It's really something special. So I recommend picking it up. I'm having a blast with it. As I said, I don't want to give too much away. But right now I'm reading a book that they're on floor 9, I believe. And they've kind of introduced like a card game throughout this as well, a card battler system. So it's really fun to read, and there's a lot that's behind it. Highly recommend the series. I'm having a blast. So that's going to be the best way to sum it up. There's quite a few literary RPGs that are out there, which is what this genre kind of falls into. There's a couple more that I'm interested in reading. I think the next one I want to read is called Runeseeker. It's about a guy that gets stuck on an island or lives on an island, and all of these people get abilities and have magic, and they all have to, find their way to survive. And they're living in a town that is in a bubble, basically. And he doesn't fit in. He doesn't have any abilities, but he ends up going through these dungeons anyways, and it turns out that he does have abilities, but he has to level them all up. Sounds like a really fun read, so I'm really excited picking that up. So kind of wanted to use Dungeon Crawler Carl to talk about some of the pickups I made for some books. Actually, yesterday, as of this recording, I did pick up 2 books as well. So there was He Who Fights with Monsters, which is this one. Honestly, it just sounds like hilarious. He ends up in a situation. He's a office supply store middle manager, and he ends up being an interdimensional adventurer, and it's just sounds like a blast. I'm really excited to get into this one too. I did pick up kind of a special print one with these sprayed edges. I don't have a lot of these books, to be honest. I don't really care if they have the sprayed edges, but I mean, if it's a book I'm interested in, why not, right? So I did pick that one up. Then, as I said, I'm really enjoying Dungeon Crawler Carl, so I wanted to keep reading by Matt Dinniman. He's got another book called Operation Bounce House, and another one that I'm not overly familiar with, but it's another one that here it's going to be another literary RPG, but it just, his writing style has been a lot of fun. Kind of like going into some of these blinds. So also so I did pick up some fantasy books as well. I am going to make my way back into fantasy here the next little while. As I said, Throne of Glass is on my list to read this year. But creeping up on the tippy top for fantasy right now is actually the Faithful and the Fallen series. I did pre-order John Gwen's newest book that's coming out later this year, War of the Wolves, or Wolves of War, something like that. But I did really enjoy the Bloodsworn series. I heard Faithful and the Fallen is just as good. It just is a little bit of a slower burn. So I'm excited to get into that. But the other books I picked up here, first one was Brandon Sanderson's Song of the Dead. Another one that actually has some sprayed edges. Again, it's not really a requirement for me, but again, I just ordered it, ended up coming with the sprayed edges. I'll take it. But it's basically a war between the living and the dead, and it's it's gonna be, and it's Brandon Sanderson's writing has been something really, really fun to read too. I've read The Wheel of Time. I haven't gotten any of his other books because as of right now, I do find that his books are kind of overwhelming. And I've discussed it before. My goal is 50 books this year, and then once I hit that 50, then I want to start tackling some larger series. So I will share my thoughts on that. The next book that I picked up, actually I picked up two, but I'll share with the first one here, is The Book of Fallen Leaves. There is a couple booktubers I have been following, and this one sounded really interesting. It is basically Shogun and Game of Thrones kind of mixed. So it sounded like a lot of fun, really dark and gritty, that I kind of like those types of books. So I wanted to make sure that I picked this one up as well. This one I actually made a trip out to my local bookstore that I looked for, and was looking all over the fantasy section, but apparently it's science fiction. So it's The Last Contract of Iseko. I probably pronounced that incorrectly. So it's another one that kind of follows this girl who is an apprentice. She's kind of an assassin, and let's see here. She tries to retire, and it sounds like she ends up in this wasteland and trying to, survive. And yeah, she's just trying to. It says uncover what could forever change humanity's existence among the stars. So it's kind of like an assassin. I did really like Fonda Lee's books of Jade City, the J Legacy series, the Green Bone Saga, pardon me. So it is another book that I'm interested in, kind of going into that one slightly blind, or pretty blind as well. My description's pretty bad with that. So, but a lot of these books, as I said, going into blind, I'm very excited to get into the next series as well. But man, Dungeon Crawler Carl, I've been quoting it with my friends, throwing them off, and I've had such a good time with it. So my hopefuls for this month, I do want to finish off Dungeon Crawler Carl. I've got 3 books left in that series, and then, as I said, Rune Seeker I think is going to be next, and then I'll probably jump into He Who Fights with Monsters afterwards, or one of those two. They might interchange, and probably throw in Operation Bounce House in there too. So that might be next month, but I am starting to get that pulled back into fantasy. So I'm still trying to figure out that one as well. I do still have Empire of the Vampire, Emperor of the Dawn, and of the Damned, and Empire of the Dawn. I've been hearing a lot about that as well for that series. So I got a lot on my plate when it comes to reading. So other than that, that's kind of what I've had going on. Kind of a shorter video tonight. I haven't really. Normally, I've been picking up more books, but as I said, kind of starting to run out of room on my shelves, and a lot of these books at this point, I'm kind of needing to slow down and actually read what I have. The Robin Hobb series, there's that series I've picked up as well. Again, it's all of these books I've been hearing nothing but good things about them, and I'm so anxious to read them all. But at this point, I'm going to be kind of a little bit pickier for what I'm reading. But anyways, if anybody's looking for a fun book series to read, definitely Dungeon Crawler Carl. Cannot recommend it enough. I also kind of get a kick out of what's written on some of these dust covers, or on any of the dust covers. So it's stuff like this. I'm not going to show some of the other ones because there's some ones that are not really appropriate to share, but it's a really, really fun series. So I will keep you guys posted on my reading. And as I said, the we will likely have a video coming up for our YouTube page for our podcast for gaming the next little while. And things are going to be a little hectic here for me for the next bit. Still going to try reading here. I've got the next few days off, but there's a game that came out that I'm really excited for that is dropping tomorrow. It's actually playable from 2 hours as of this recording. So very, very excited to get into that. So my next 2 days are going to be following around that. And I finally get to see one of my favorite bands ever on Saturday. I've been waiting to see them for like 25 years. That is Creed. I know you guys can make fun of me for that as much as you want, but I'm very, very excited to see them. So that being said, thanks for tuning in. As I said, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter one tonight. It's just a quick catch up. But anyways, make sure you like, subscribe, and I will keep you guys posted with more books.